Ooh. All right, Stochastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you with Eric Lindquist. It's Team Eric, or as Laffy and Josh said on the morning show, it's Eric and Eric in the evening. Not
Eric
bad.
and Eric in the evening. Something like that.
We've done one of these so far this season. We used to do the late night swap and sweat show once upon a time.
Sloppy.
You and I did some overnight podcasts, which then morphed into the show with you and Ryan. And then, we've had some overnights there. So not a bad way to go.
Yeah, grab your sleeping bag. Let's hang out a little bit. It'll be so nice.
So we are live on playback now. I think I worked through the challenges I had yesterday. Technical difficulties, that's me. We had it working. Fortunately, we had it working early in the afternoon yesterday. Jordan and I did, and Tom still had playback up on his computer. So all of a sudden I started talking and coming out of his computer in the middle of the day. So that's how at least he knew we had it done correctly until it fell apart last night when we went live. But Jordan's helped me out today. We got this jumped on early here with Jacob, so I think we're going to be set here. So thank you everybody for coming on in here. We have news already because we are going without the deeper dive. We're going to kind of compartmentalize this by position. We'll talk about all the key stuff. There are several games you can kind of cross out, and we thought we were going to be crossing out the Orlando Magic, but no, Paolo Banchero not playing today. Goga Batazzi starting, so that will be a discussion point here. But any other fun things you want to hit on, Eric? How is golf going for you today? Any outrights?
No, it was pain and suffering. I mean, we got the 8 under from EVR, and then just pain and sadness. He ended up trying to salvage on that front 9, but then just too far behind those guys. I mean, the Villamaki and the Jake train are just going back and forth right now. So I was watching that a little bit, trying to see if I wanted to get a live bet going, but never really found the opportunity to sometimes live betting is like double dutch. It's like, do I go? Do I not go? Do I go? Do I not go? And just kind of decided to opt out of trying to chase any golf losses for the week.
Sometimes that's going to happen. We've got NASCAR sims going on. So let me just do a quick little peek over here and see how my NASCAR teams are doing. Ooh, currently winnings is a little higher than I expected, but I know hockey just started here.
I mean, Daytona, I was up there in the millie. I jammed a lot of lineups in the millie because I saw there was going to potentially be overlay for that, and then it wasn't overlaid, but it didn't fill. I don't like NASCAR sweats, but I will say the Sims tool at least made it really, really fun to almost avoid crashes. Is this another Daytona-like track today, or what's going on?
So they're at Atlanta, and they kind of tweaked it a little bit. So it's it's not quite Talladega, which is not quite Daytona.
Okay.
But it's more. The thought was that there would probably be more wrecks.
Gotcha.
In this one as well. I wasn't able to watch today, and I see there's probably about 50 laps left would be my guess. The other thing you got to learn about NASCAR spots, you just don't even look at your currently winnings because it will change.
It was painful.
If you glance at it, it could be during pits or off-cycle pits, or there's always going to be seemingly these days a green-white checker to end the race and multiple restarts with less than 20 laps to go. But we're here to talk basketball, so we'll jump in here.
We'll do that.
But as we're collecting people, we have to remind everybody that we do have the Stochastic Hall of Fame. And with that, we have the Rocking the Stochastic Avatar contest or opportunity. So if you go to stochastic.com/avatar, you can download that, upload that avatar to your DFS site of choice. And if you finish top 3 in any contest with at least 5,000 people in it, that's first, second, or third. 3-way tie for first is okay. 50-way tie for first, that's not a top 3 finish. But you get one package up to $199.99 of your choice at Stochastic. So check that out. You can win one of those per year, but that's just a way that we are giving back here. So check that out. Plus, you'll get inducted into the Hall of Fame by Laffy, and who doesn't like that? And even if you don't finish top 3, you got a big win. Put it out there. Send it to Stochastic HOF. We had Melissa tag us last night. She had a good showing with the Sims. She is now fully a convert. And she went, even before there was the full Sims bundle, she was buying more and more sports on it because she likes the way it works out. So a fellow old is appreciative of this technology, much like I am. So there we go.
Oh no.
What happened?
Here we are. You are frozen here for a second. Are you? Is it me?
Is that me or
you?
is that you? Haha.
Let me see. Got you frozen on my end.
All right. So when you say Eric, I'm assuming you mean Lindy.
I can't tell. These are things we're going to figure out. It's me. What's me? What did I do?
Well, I mean, come on. I'm plugged into the router because that's what producer Jordan makes me do. So we take no chances.
Okay, Mister.
Did you forget to pay the high-speed internet bill?
Frustrating. Give me 1 second.
All right. While you're working on getting some of those Pornhub tabs closed.
No, they put fiber in my place, and it's been worse today. Worse since they put it in on Friday.
I wish you guys could see the screen that we have frozen here for Lindy on Zoom. It's classic. So hopefully YouTube is getting that one. But in any event, we'll get Eric squared away here. But just wanted to remind everybody all the fun that we're having. We do have some injury news. So I did mention that we will be without Paulo Banchero tonight. So that means they've already announced Goga Batadze will be starting. Banchero seems to have the illness that potentially the one that's going around the league. We do know that Jamal Murray is questionable. He missed the last game. That was on Friday night. Of course, that was a readily winnable game there for Denver. They were playing Portland. So I would expect him to play tonight. You've got KCP, who is also questionable with a sprained finger. But that is one of our first games going off at the 7:00 hour. So we'll have all that information there. We have Trae Young is out. So that means all the usage and all the world will be going to DeJounte Murray. Murray goes from 1 fantasy point per minute up to 1.3 when Young is off the court. Of course, a tougher matchup there against the slower and better defense of Orlando, but that's still an interesting spot for him. Brandon Ingram has missed the last 2 games with an illness. Mm-hmm. He is questionable. Jose Alvarado is suspended for 3 games. Najee Marshall is suspended for 1 game, and CJ McCollum is out. So Zion is questionable. That's actually with the bruised foot. So we'll have to see what's going on there with New Orleans. And then that is all the main stuff. Oh, Paul George now popping up, questionable with a sore knee. We'll have to see what happens there. Clippers are favored by 5 there at home, taking on Sacramento. I did recommend under 31.5 PRA there for Mr. Paul George in the DFS Building Blocks article. So that would be helpful if he is taking it easy tonight. But those are the main things. Any other news you wanted to talk about, or shall we kind of jump in here?
You did a fantastic job. Was able to kind of figure out what was going on with my internet quick. And so now we continue forward. You laid it out nicely. Think we're going to be paying attention to Pelicans news. I think Pelicans news is a big part of what I kind of want to try to do on this slate. There's some different starting lineups. Obviously, no Jose Alvarado, who's going to be massive chalk this morning when I started working through stuff. We'll see. There's a chance where Jordan Hawkins ends up starting at 4,200, and you might want to get there. But with no McCollum, no Alvarado, I bet it's going to be a lot of point Zion. Zion, somebody in tournaments that I'm going to be a lot higher on. And that game locks here at the 7 p.m. Eastern time window. Not going to be a ton of late swap stuff, but we have very chalky pieces in Utah with Hendricks and George. I think we'll talk through some of the nuances there and what's showing up in the Sims tool. And then, of course, no Trae Young in Atlanta. So that's locking early. So you did a good job of laying it all out. Let's ride.
All right. One more thing we're going to jump into here. Let's slide on in. We've got a couple super chats here. So first we're going to do Ace of Spades. We're going to talk about the tiers. I've got that pulled up, so we'll run through those. And then Xiaolin Verse has a question about FanDuel tournaments. So we'll use these as our talking points. And then whatever we don't talk about there, we'll hit on some guards. We'll talk about the Uber chalk that is appearing there in the Utah and San Antonio game. And then we'll probably have some more news with lineups coming in. But in tier 1 here, do you have the tiers up, or do you prefer I just run through this?
Yep, I've got you run through it though, because I'd be doing it off the projections. I made lineups earlier.
Tier one is clearly Nikola Jokic. He has a 5%, 5 point projection advantage over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is second. So I would just go ahead and take Jokic there. It gets kind of fun. In tier two, you have Alperen Şengün, who is probably the most exciting option. He will be doing battle with Chet Holmgren tonight. The secondary option would be Kawhi Leonard, particularly if Paul George ends up getting ruled out. That is one of the later, if not the actual late game tonight. So you may not know that news for that decision point, but Kawhi still is coming in with a comparable projection to Şengün. I'd lean towards Şengün first, though, myself. The next one, you've got De'Aaron Fox and Zion Williamson are vying for 1 and 2. I kind of like the Zion lean as long as he's in with the foot. We're okay. The bailout spot is Fox since he is in that last game of the night. And then Lauri Markkanen, I'm a little concerned about him. He only has, in his last, I want to say 10 games, he has gone over 40 fantasy points 3 times, and I think he's been under like 35 6 or 7 times. So he can pop off at any given moment, but they're kind of in flux there in Utah with Will Hardy. So I would not be interested in Lauri Markkanen. DeJounte Murray is the easy click for tier 4. You also have Anthony Simons in a great matchup against Charlotte, sort of a coin flip there. I would probably go with Simons just to gain differentiation. We already know with the salary cap and all of that, we're going to be playing a lot of Murray, and I think a lot of people are going to congregate. Why was I going to say coagulate? I don't know. They're going to be rendering fat and making soap later today, Eric. Chet Holmgren.
What the hell?
Chet Holmgren is in tier 5. Who do you, tier 5 is like the top 5 options are top 4 options are within like 2 fantasy points of each other. Do you have a particular lean based on matchup?
Who are the 2?
Tier 5. It's Holmgren, DeRozan, Jalen Johnson without Trae Young and without Okongwu. That's pretty good. Yeah. And then Fred Van Elite would be your top 4. They're all
hasn't been very elite this year, EMac.
But his team is good.
Yeah, his team's better. They're not good. Good is relative, my friend. But they're better than expected, that's for sure. Let me pull this up here as I'm working through it. I like Chet Holmgren the most there.
Okay. And then in tier 6, it's most likely DeAndre Ayton, who has been playing pretty good minutes. 35, 20, that was a foul trouble game where he fouled out. 32, 37, and 39. So he's been playing a lot of minutes now that he's not dealing with knee and leg soreness. So that breaks it down. Hope that helps. Ace of Spades. Let's move quickly over to FanDuel here. So this is for Xiaolin Verse. He says, who is your best pay-up stud? And how low would you go for a spend-down flyer? So he's asking at each end of the spectrum here.
Okay, so who do I want to pay up for the most? Because, I mean, Goga is the flat min starting, so 3K, I have Infinity, Goga Batadze today. So on the bottom end, yes, you're paying down for him. Taylor Hendricks, I'm paying down for him. 3,700 for him, that's just ridiculous. A lot of the other best, like, point per dollar plays are all in that 5K range, but there's one guy who shows up a ton. DeJounte Murray, 7,800, if you want to consider him a spend up. And then Victor Wembanyama against Utah. The guy is dumb. He is so dumb. If you watch that 5x5 game, it was dumb. And he will continue to do dumb stuff the rest of his NBA career. I would like to be a part of said dumb stuff and roster him in bunches against teams like Utah that don't bring a lot of defensive prohibition. They have Victor Wembanyama just playing the low 30s minutes, still 30, 31 minutes. The fact that he went for a 5x5 in 31 minutes is so ridiculous. There aren't words for it. Just play him in fantasy. He's going to be a 1.8, 1.85 fantasy point per minute guy, unless they bring somebody out from, the nether regions and bring them to San Antonio in the offseason. Wembanyama is going to continue to produce like this for the foreseeable future. It's dumb to say, but he's too cheap at 9,600.
How do you feel about his, remember this is FanDuel as well. How do you feel about his FanDuel price where he is very close to one Nikola Jokic?
Yeah, so I mean, they obviously have taken the blocks and steals into consideration a little bit more there. It seems like an important thing to have considered when you're talking about a dude who just does ridiculous things, but I love him over there. I'm playing FanDuel specifically so I can get to a little of Wemby there. There's positive leverage in the boom bust tool going his direction. He's 11.6K, which I think keeps the ownership down. But considering he has power forward eligibility, I just see no problem getting to him, getting to Jokic. These are good things to be rostering today.
Yeah, the other fun things.
Jokic, I only have 2% of, by the way, on FanDuel. I'm just saying you could get to Jokic if you wanted to. Okay. I'm just not right now. DraftKings, where you have the triple-double bonus, come on. That's where we really want him.
Right. And when you look at Wembanyama, in 6 minutes and 59 seconds on Friday, he had 16.7 boards and assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. That's 40.9 fantasy points in the first quarter. That is impressive. He's the only other player besides Michael Jordan to have consecutive games of at least 5 blocks and 5 steals.
Seems good.
And he just missed the a back-to-back 5x5s as well. I think he missed it by an assist.
About the things we're saying about a rookie. I mean,
well, he turned 20 now, so he's more mature.
Remember, right? After one game during the summer league, I almost went to that game. I was going to drive to Vegas and go watch his debut. I think producer Jacob, I think he was at that game. We were talking about it leading into it. I was doing a bunch of baseball stuff and it was like, I probably can't make it swing. But Wemby had a bad summer league game, his first game, and everybody was like, oh, is it going to be a bust? Now, people are so insane. If you watch Wemby with your own two eyes at any point, there might be games where he misses it. There are going to be games he turns it over a lot. He needs to figure that out. Kind of same issue with Bull. Both of them are going to turn the ball over a lot. But the things that he is able to do on a basketball floor are just insane. So, from a DFS perspective, I know Greg's been jamming him a lot. I've been jamming him a lot. I think he was in that lineup where I won 30K the couple, a month or so ago. I very much like everything that has to do with Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, and I know this is a decision point, and it's, I like that it is, right. To go with just the jamming him in, that's not quite as fun. Here it's a challenge. We know he's going to be capped somewhere in between 30 and 32 minutes. Yep. I don't know that he's gone above. I think he's only gone above 31 once this season. If I haven't looked at his game logs in a long time, but that's kind of the new baseline for it here. So, but my God, he scored 40 fantasy points in 7 minutes. That is just ridiculous. You almost need perfection though on FanDuel at that price. Yep. You're kind of looking for 8 stocks to get you where you need to be to pay that one off. But the power forward eligibility is key. Also getting Goga Bitadze is key. The other one that's interesting is Vucevic now has power forward eligibility on FanDuel, which is a new-ish wrinkle, I believe. Is he coming in? And now we're talking. I guess we're going with the front court first. F for front court.
I guess so.
Where are you looking at Vooch tonight?
I have 4% of him. I don't have a lot of him over on FanDuel. I'm playing 50 lineups there. I'm playing 33 on DraftKings. I don't know why that is the number I landed on, but I guess it just makes it easier for me today doing both sites. But I think Vooch is fine for FanDuel purposes. I have no problem with it. Obviously, there's just such weird things that they can do with this starting lineup. I want to see the Pelicans starting lineup very, very badly. That's kind of what, for the next 42 minutes, I'm the most interested in, because I think Jordan Hawkins could be a guy that isn't getting attention, that gets a ton of attention as we get close. They can go point Zion if they want to. I'm assuming the starting 5 is Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, and Jonas Valanciunas, but you never know for sure. I think Jordan Hawkins does, do a lot of the ball handling duty. We have him for 25 and a half minutes here at the moment. So we'll see if that moves what Chicago does with their starting 5, but I doubt it. I'm assuming we just get the normal Kobe White, Caruso, DeRozan, Dosunmu, and Vooch, but Andre Drummond just playing 18, 19 minutes there. Vooch now with power forward eligibility. DraftKings purposes, Vooch is a lot more appealing to me.
All right. Just looking, I hadn't realized that Zion was all the way up to 5 assists per game. That is,
dude, he's been, I said, point Zion has been a thing for about the last month. And, it's one of those things. I can't talk about every single situation on a live before lock because, the Deeper Dive does such an amazing job of covering everything before it from a game by game perspective. But one thing I've just been paying attention to is how much more the Pelicans have just been allowing Zion to initiate the offense. You've seen CJ McCollum when healthy, obviously not healthy today, not playing basketball, but you've seen Zion just start to facilitate. And it's been an enjoyable addition to his game, that's for sure. Again, he is averaging 5 assists per game now, which is just wild.
All right. Let's see. We got two super chats here. Courtney Lamar asking a little bit more discussion towards Jokic at 7% ownership. Could that be the going over the field there? As much as I want to play Wembanyama on FanDuel, that Jokic would be your direct leverage against the field. Neither one is overly popular, but that would kind of be the way to go. But you're costing yourself Goga Batadze's cheapness.
Yeah, we got news Jamal Murray's in. We saw KCP is in as well. Those came across here a couple of minutes ago, and I think
Brandon Ingram is playing, by the way.
Brandon Ingram playing. Okay, so there you go. Wanted to double check on that. All right, so he's good to go. 8,100 for him. I'm going to get there. Probably going to downtick a little bit here towards Zion. I mean, I don't have to really update anything. Obviously, we've had Brandon Ingram in all day. I just wanted to, again, double check that starting lineup. I got to assume that they're going to go to a lot of like the Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson ball handling duty, have Trey Murphy play off ball, Herb Jones off ball, Jonas Valanciunas. I think that'll still be the 5, but again, you never know. They've had some interesting configurations. I still think Jordan Hawkins is intriguing sub 5%. I'm going to get there at 4,200 because if he goes out and plays well, there's no reason that they need to rip him off the floor. With no Alvarado there, with no CJ McCollum, he can do that ball handling duty a little bit. Dyson Daniels not going to be doing that. That's for sure. So cool. Poor guy. He ended up tearing his knee. Actually, that's wild. I didn't see that before, but yeah, nothing really to add.
All right. And then I'm not sure I'm translating this one well. Phil Stenzik says Sims equal a 179 ROI this morning, exclamation point. I'm assuming that means you had a good night last night, Phil. Hopefully I've read that correctly. But he's asking, who do you feel is over-owned today? And I believe Phil mostly plays over-owned DK. Yeah.
Let me update some stuff here for 1 second. Okay. I'm going to double check and see who I have like very, very little of relative to the field. I have 100% Goga. I have nearly 40% Taylor Hendricks, so I'm not going to be besmirching the good name of Taylor Hendricks here at the moment. I will say Jeremy Grant's kind of an interesting one at 7K against Charlotte. Charlotte, they're the worst team in defensive rating, but they don't really bring a lot of pace, extra possessions. And Ayton playing more minutes, not exactly a positive there from a rebounding perspective. 35 minutes of Jeremy Grant there with the 26% usage on the season. That's nifty. Him and Anthony Simons kind of doing everything, but like you need big minutes. And then you also need him to like shoot the ball well now at this point because he's not really filling up the box score. I mean, less than 4 rebounds, less than 3 assists per game, and Ayton playing more alongside him. You're kind of looking at a shooting dependent play. He's only 7K against Charlotte, so I'm not saying don't play him, but currently have 4% of him in my last top 150 lineups. I'm only going to be playing 33 of those, so we'll see as I go through the sorting process in the Sims what I get to. But right now, Jeremy Grant would be my answer.
All right. We've got a good question here from Brandon Wagner. We're going to go with that since he's asking in a question about DeJounte Murray. Look at this. Go Huskies. Woo! Go Huskies. DeJounte Murray, 100% in the $4.20 max on DK. How do you feel about that? Some quick numbers here. When no
Trae Young.
Yeah, thank you. When Trae, I don't know why it's slipping my mind. Okay. When Trae Young is off the court, Murray goes from 0.99 fantasy points per minute this season to nearly 1.3. Tough matchup here. That's a big increase, though. I mean, the 30% increase is dramatic. Even if you call it 1.2 for the tougher matchup, and you're looking at 35 minutes, he should get about 45 or so fantasy points as his baseline. What do you think his upside is? Murray, that is that enough to justify going 100% in the 20 max?
Jamal Murray?
Or DeJounte.
Yeah, Huskies. You could play 100% DeJounte Murray and have no problem with it. Yeah. I would have no problem with DeJounte Murray 100%.
Okay. I did not expect that answer at all. True Rages would like to know, who are your DK cash?
You could definitely have 100% DeJounte Murray. You don't expect you could totally have 100% of him.
I would. Hello? I'm more pessimistic. Oh my
gosh. What is going 70. On?
All right. Well, while we see
That's
if
not
Lindy comes
pessimistic.
back, Lindy, you good? You okay? We need
I
him to
don't know
feed.
what's going on right now with this.
You got to feed the squirrels, or you got to close the Pornhub. Those are your choices. All
It's an
right.
option. These are options. I am just disabling my camera here on the playback stream at the moment, and then we will see what's going on with because I think that might be the culprit here at the moment.
Gotcha. All righty.
Just
So
going.
we got the DeJounte Murray comment in there. Would you like to discuss your DK faves at each position, and you can combine that with throw out your cash plays on DK as well? Goga,
I'm back.
definitely.
Yep.
Goga in cash. Is Wemby in cash for you tonight?
Is Wemby in cash? Yes, I would have Wemby in cash.
DeJounte Murray?
Yes, absolutely.
And then who are three more?
Keontae George, Taylor Hendricks.
Okay. Did we know that Hendricks is starting? Or is that kind of going to be
I'd see no reason. 6 minutes, he didn't have to close. I think there's still a pretty darn good chance that they just keep rolling that out there. If that changes, obviously, you've got Charlotte, Portland, Sacramento, LAC that you can move some pieces around. You're not going to feel great about it, but he's 3,700, and assuming he starts, he's a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy. I put him in for 27 and a half minutes. We've got him at 28 and a half right now, and he's showing up quite a bit there. I've no problem. Again, if you don't think he starts, do you not think he starts today?
No, I think he will. It's just surprising that it's at the expense of Kessler. And
Yeah.
what the hell happened to Kessler after being so good last year? Now, he was good down the stretch last year.
As a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, I have zero problem with him sucking. I am just fine. I feel so much better. My conscience is clear because last year you could argue that Kessler and Gobert were the same guy, and one cost us the absolute entire bushel of corn in Minnesota. I mean, it's just absurd what we had to give up to get Gobert, and now looking pretty sharp in hindsight. Again, these are the reasons that I'm not going to ever be an NBA GM.
All right. And then one more super chat here. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. This is from Jacob Dunn. He would like to know, why do you think Franz Wagner has been so bad lately? Do you think he will turn it around? He has 25 or less fantasy points in 3 of his last 4. Any root cause there? Atlanta defense is the cure, the cure that it will cure all the ails, right?
Yeah, they cure a lot of problems. Yep. They can cure a lot there. I am pretty positive that Franz Wagner is a fantastic play today to mix into your lineups with no Paolo Banchero out there. So let's put that to rest. You can definitely get to Franz Wagner.
Ready? And I think that takes care of our super chats here. Let's see if we got anything going on in playback. Hello, Ghost Face Kicker. And let's go to Discord here. Let's see what we've got. We got 32 minutes until lock. Let's get back to. I got a note from my good friend, Rusty Nuts. All right. Master PJ says, am I crazy for wanting to be over the field on Jalen Johnson? I would say no. I just closed out our ownership. I'm guessing he's going to be around 20% tonight. I would be comfortable around 20%. I would hope that would be over the field. When you start going more than that, sometimes he has foul issues, and it's still not the best game environment that is out there. I wish he could play Atlanta, but he does do a great job with the rebounding, especially without having to deal with either one of Okongwu or Clint Capella. Clint Capella, of course, back. Okongwu is going to be out for about 3 more weeks. But how do you feel about Jalen Johnson?
Like Jalen Johnson a lot for tournaments. I mean, this is a guy who does fill up a box score and isn't completely shooting dependent and can see the assist rate go up and can do some of the other things that you're looking for DraftKings scoring. So I have zero qualms getting to him. Obviously, it's a terrible matchup, made a little bit easier by not having Paolo Banchero out there, but you're looking at extra minutes maybe you're going to get some combination of Jonathan Isaac, Mo Wagner, mixed in there too. I mean, this is a good spot to be invested in Jalen Johnson, especially. I mean, as Clint Capella's minutes get ramped up, that's going to affect him more and more in the rebounding department, very obviously. But for the time being, Jalen Johnson averaging nearly 9 rebounds a game, pretty good double-double opportunity here. Averaging north of 2 stocks overall as well. We've got him for 36.5 minutes. For tournaments, there's no reason you shouldn't get to a 4.7% Jalen Johnson grading out pretty well.
All right. For Ethan 7, he says, who's your favorite leverage spot or spots on DK tonight? For me, it's going to be DeJounte Murray going lower than the field. And to call out Jalen Johnson, he's in single digits on both DK and FanDuel, about 7% on each. I'm comfortable playing 20%. As I mentioned, I guess I'm above the field on him. We'll see what the Sims say once I run them.
Yeah, it's terrifying to think that I'm way over on DeJounte Murray, so I'm the opposite end of the spectrum on that.
All right. And then do you have a leverage spot where you think the field is a little too enthusiastic for anybody on DK?
Yeah, talked about, I mean, he's not like insanely popular, but talked a little bit about what I was doing with Vooch there earlier. Jeremy Grant as well. I am below on Jeremy Sohan here at the moment. I don't know if that's going to maintain. I kind of want to get all of that Utah San Antonio game. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the top 10 in ownership there. Seems like a good spot to be.
Where's Duke?
What is that?
It's my little 13-year-old puppy. She just came in to announce that I should have fed her.
Oh,
guess we'll do that after the show.
How cute is that freaking dog?
Now she wants to go back outside. Yeah, she looks like she's straight out of Central Casting. Can you play Goga and Jonathan Isaac in the same lineup? Absolutely. They're not going to impede each other. The big fear for Isaac is he kind of caps out around 18 to 22 minutes. I recommended the under on his 13.5 PRA yesterday. That did not come to fruition, but I don't see any issue playing both of them on the same lineup.
I have no problem whatsoever. I mean, none of the teams playing on today's slate play tomorrow, so that is always a fun thing to have sitting in the back of my mind where it's like, oh, you could run into 24 minutes out of nowhere. We saw 25 minutes from him last week, I believe it was. Let me find where this was, because I know he played that Chicago game. I think it went to overtime, maybe not, but let's see. Because he had been playing on some of these back-to-backs. He played the OKC New York back-to-back, but they limited to 15 minutes in both of those. You could see 24 minutes if Jonathan Isaac goes out and plays well here. It's Atlanta. I would have no problem playing both of them. And it has more to do with the fact that they're both cheap than it has to do with like them sniping each other in terms of minutes or opportunities. So, yeah, I don't have Jonathan Isaac right now, but I understand why you're getting there.
All righty. We just got the Thunder starting lineup: SGA, Lugens Dort, Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, and Chet Holmgren. There we go. The good Jalen Williams.
The good one. Yes. Yeah. Assumed to be. Yes.
Chris Albert's great question here. Over under on 7.5 assists for DeJounte Murray tonight.
Kind of like myself. I will say, I think my favorite tournament play relative to ownership right now. Where's Bogdanovich? I have nearly 80% Bogdanovich. I don't know why people aren't jamming him here.
That's the real answer.
He is the guy to play today in turn. Like, again, he's not unowned. A quarter of the lineups in the field are going to have him. He could end up with like 35% ownership at the flip. I wouldn't be surprised. But like, I'm just going to play an eternal amount of him, 5,500, and they can go to Jalen Johnson at the 5, especially if they have like Mo Wagner out there, Wendell Carter Jr. Like, I have no qualms with Atlanta going Jalen Johnson at the 5 for some of those minutes. I know Bruno Fernando is going to continue to show up here for the time being, but the guy was completely out of the rotation once upon a time, now playing like limited minutes backing up Capella, but there are ways that Jalen Johnson goes to the 5 there, and you could just be looking at extra minutes and opportunity for a guy like Bogdanovich. We've got him for 30 right now. There is an upside to those minutes too, and I don't see a lot of downside to the minutes. I get it's a tough Orlando spot, but I mean, God, he's so freaking good without Trae Young on the floor, and they're just neat. I'm shocked he's not in like 40% of the field's lineups right now. That tells you how many pieces of chalk there are that are pretty good today.
So back to the Murray, I would take the over on 7.5 assists. We have him projected for 7.75. I figured we'd be closer to 8.1. So it's close. But hey,
Yeah, I'd be
most
staying
props
away
pretty much
if
are.
you're
You would
looking
stay
at
away?
making a bet on it. I wouldn't be betting it.
Okay. And then another question: do you think Paul George plays today? I personally do. They don't play again until Wednesday.
Yep.
I think that if we go look at his minutes, he's ramped back up since the All-Star break. He played 30, almost 36, and then 37. Those were on back-to-backs. That was Friday was the last time he took the court. We saw him sort of limited by injury. He sat out on the 31st of January, and then he had a couple games where clearly he wasn't looking great on the court, but he seems to have moved beyond that. Right.
So one of the reasons that I have so much San Antonio and Utah, like everybody else does too, is that I do want to kind of, once we get these 4 games that lock, Paul George is questionable. It popped up midday. There's a relatively good chance that he decides to take the night off here against Sacramento at home. James Harden, Terrence Mann, we just saw play a pretty prominent role offensively for the first time pretty much all season. That was fun to watch Terrence Mann step into a little bit of his own here, but that creates an opportunity here where if Paul George ends up being out, I mean, there's a lot of interest to just turn some of the Wemby you have, which again, I love Wemby. I'm going to have lots today, but I could turn some of that into some James Harden, into some Kawhi Leonard, and I would have no qualms about that. So Paul George questionable. Keep that on your radar, everybody.
No, and that's a good reactionary read there. All righty. Do you have an exotic play of the day?
No, I don't. Stop asking. Anyway.
Well, but Jordan's not here, so I don't think it's an issue.
Right. God, Franz Wagner.
Okay.
You guys are the worst.
I did not.
It's probably Goga Batate, considering I have 100% of him.
All right. Now Greg's not here, and I'm not going to blow your balls off, but
phrasing, EMac. Phrasing. Have you learned nothing in your 184 years on this earth?
Do you have a nuke of the night?
Okay. Yeah, we can fire up the nuke of the night here. It's Bogdanovich. I mean, 24% ownership, 25% ownership right now. I'm more than happy to just go down in flames if this doesn't pan out, but he's 5,500. And, you talked about some of those rates with Trae Young off the floor. Let me pull him back up here. But I mean, Bogdanovich just ascends into another stratosphere, 5,500 getting there. We know he's going to go out and be a willing participant in the shooting department. With no Trae Young on the floor this season, you've got DeJounte Murray with a 29.8% usage. Number 2 in terms of minutes, DeAndre Hunter, surprising 325 minutes, 24.6%. But Bogdanovich there at 23% for a baseline there. The minutes should be there. The opportunity should be there. And overall, 0.93 fantasy point per minute guy in 707 minutes on the floor with no Trae Young. That has massive room to go up here. It's weird to see that kind of dip there. That speaks to how good Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter were there. But Hunter's still not getting to like full run here. I understand that it's been better, but we're not going to see him break 32 minutes anytime soon. So with that in mind, I really like Bogdanovich today.
All right. I want to remind everybody that 1, we have 22 minutes until lock, and 2, we are sponsored tonight by BetMGM. They've got a great deal over there where you bet $5 and you get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose on your wager. You do need to, 1, go in through the link that is in the YouTube description below us here. You need to put $10 into your account, but once you make a $5 wager, you will get $150 in bet credits, which you will have a week to use. Key things you want to remember. Also, if you or anybody you know has a gambling issue, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER, and the standard age for gambling in most states is 21. All right. Did we get any more news here? We've got the Pelly starting lineup. Zion, Herb, Brandon, Trae, and Jonas, just like you said.
Yep.
We also have, I believe you mentioned that.
I do want to point out the order of which they put those names as well. There's a reason. Like Zion Williamson is your starting point guard. So just throwing it out there. I know I had talked about it earlier, but like this is actually a thing if you've been watching Pelicans basketball lately.
No, that is a great call out there. We just got Chicago's...
I want point guard, power forward eligibility for Zion Williamson. Can we make that happen, DraftKings? Can we make that happen?
And then comment God, I was going to call out. He had a great one. He said he's hope he does not wearing Trump shoes. Remember when in the college game when Zion, his shoes kind of blew up on him and disintegrated about 60 seconds into one of the games. That was a crazy time. Chicago starting lineup as expected: Kobe White, Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, and Vooch. I didn't mention it, but Golden State Warriors starting lineup: Curry, Podzemski, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond. And Atlanta officially is DeJounte, Bogey, Sadiq Bey, Jalen Johnson, and Clint Capella.
These are good things. Somebody said that they had a super chat earlier. Fave plays by position. I didn't see that one come in, but
sorry. No, it did. Go ahead. We kind of hit it when we were doing the cash game stuff.
I'll just tell you who I have the most of at each position. I mean, DeJounte Murray, Keontae George, 1-2 at point guard. How about you, EMac?
Agreed.
Shooting guard DeJounte and Bogdanovich by a mile. I know you're under on DeJounte, but
I think that's where I'm coming in a little under on DeJounte.
Okay. Sohan for me is not the number one guy here at small forward at the moment. Trey Murphy getting him starting the unit there. Franz Wagner pretty close behind. How about you? Small forward.
I really like Wagner. That's going to be my ride or die spot.
Wagner. Love it. Let's go. I said I like Wagner today. I have no qualms about how quote unquote bad he's been. He's going to have to chuck. And it's Atlanta. Come on now. Power forward, Victor Wembanyama for me.
Absolutely. No question.
And Goga by a landslide at center.
And I guess my point guard would be Zion now. Just for a callback. We just got projections updated, which means that the ownership will be coming next, and then the Sims. So I will be running my lineups here in just a moment. Markkanen or Şengün is the super chat here from Jay. That is for me, Şengün 100%.
It is Markkanen for me right now.
Call it out. Why? Highlight it.
So it's a difficult spot going up against OKC. I know that they bring pace to the table here, but defensive rating, I mean, it's just a tough spot anytime you're going to be facing Oklahoma City. Fourth in adjusted defensive rating, 112.3 there. They are up to ninth in pace. So, I mean, they've been falling further back outside of the top 5, top 8 in terms of pace. So it's not as good of a spot as it had been earlier in the season. It is a it's just a Houston team that is starting to lose a little bit of its luster here. You get Fred VanVleet back into the mix. So that kind of takes a little bit off the top for me. He's still a good play. 8,500 isn't probably an appropriate tag against most teams, but Oklahoma City isn't most teams. And then it's not that I'm saying you can't get to Şengün, but like just the comparison between the two. Lauri Markkanen is in that game environment where you just want to have more pieces. And I think Lauri Markkanen at 8,200 against the Spurs is going to see a decent enough bump, maybe from a 1.25 to a 1.3 DraftKings points per minute guy. He's going to lead this team in usage long term. I know that we've seen some good performances shooting the ball from Colin Sexton, now knocked down, I believe, 2 threes in like 5 consecutive or something like that. He's been shooting the ball a lot more from 3 and knocking him down. So it is what it is. But like Lauri Markkanen is still going to be that guy, I think, long term here. And small forward, power forward, not a ton of other guys there at the small forward position. It's definitely the weakest position on DraftKings today. So I think the positionality has me leaning him.
Alrighty, let's see, we got 17 minutes. So Chris Williams, our favorite Apple friend, just gifted 5 memberships here.
My dude.
So a couple things I wanted to call out here on, they're asking, what do you think Taylor Hendricks' minutes are? We have him for 26.8 minutes. That feels about right. I think he didn't play the full fourth quarter rotation, if I remember correctly, on Friday, but I wasn't paying that close attention to it. Markkanen has let's see. So someone asked about John Collins. Why is nobody talking about John Collins? So I wrote him up today, and I feel he's a good foundational play, but he doesn't have the upside. So in his last 16 games, he has topped 40 fantasy points 3 times in those 16 games, and he has not gone over 45 but he's been putting up solid numbers. Now it helps him that Kessler's not out there because that's one good rebounder that he's going to play about 12 less minutes with. So that's helpful. Markkanen's in a similar situation. In his last 10 games, he has had fewer than 30 fantasy points 6 times. His highs were 50 and 47. So he's got a little bit higher ceiling. Clearly, he's kind of the primary guy on the Jazz, but he just hasn't really done it lately. So we talk about guys that we like in tournaments. He would be one of them. This would be a good spot for him, but I'm just finding other plays that I'm getting to. So I don't dislike him, but I don't want to ride with that one tonight.
I got you. So Lauri Markkanen also has, this is probably the other tiebreaker that is me going to a lot more. I have 32% Lauri Markkanen. I doubt I have 32% Lauri Markkanen come lock of that game, but I don't want to be tying up lineups. I want to get to Kawhi Leonard. If I want to get to James Harden, Lauri Markkanen's salary kind of fits more in line with that. We have a lot of pieces from this Utah-San Antonio game that we are getting to as is. And as such, I'm kind of giving boosts to a lot of them just to, again, Keontae George, he's coming up a little bit lower in the Sims tool in our last run. Again, now we have a 3K piece where we can kind of be a little bit more exclusive. We don't have to just find value here at Keontae George. Some of that tag, it's not as appealing as what it was when you were getting sub 4K new starter Keontae George. But I am a big fan of having some swappability on any slate. And there will not be enough people getting to Kawhi and James Harden if we get the news in that hour leading up to the Utah game that Paul George is out. So for me, I think it's worth it to just backload your lineups a little bit with more Lauri Markkanen rather than lock it up with Şengün.
Do you have any concerns with Brandon Ingram tonight coming back off that illness?
No. I mean, he had a really long All-Star break. That was nice for him, right? It'd be nice to get a full
he had time to
week and a half off work.
Being angry that he was not selected as well.
Yeah. So he just went to Cancun and got sick or something. I don't know. It seems like a fun way to live your life. I love Brandon Ingram for tournaments, 8,100. I gave him a boost in the Sims tool just to get to a little bit more. Again, I like the point Zion idea of getting to a little bit more Zion too. This is a Pelicans team that, again, I think I was going to be overweight too across the board more than most. I mean, there's guys gone. I mean, we have Najee Marshall out for today now too. We have, the suspensions that came through. So for them, no Jose Alvarado. That was going to make Jordan Hawkins interesting if he ended up starting, but they did go the point Zion route. And as such, probably not going to end up landing there after all, after I was, kind of building him into some lineups. But Trey Murphy, like him. Zion, love him for tournaments. 12.5%. Brandon Ingram, he's going to be the lower owned guy between the two of them. Love getting to that with the shooting guard, small forward eligibility. And again, small forward, Franz Wagner looks good. A lot of these other guys look good, but there is no clear-cut play at small forward. Jeremy Sohan pulling the most ownership right now. I'm happy to dilute that and move that to other places on the board. You have Malik Monk now with small forward eligibility. What a time to be alive. But there's no clear-cut play there. So, I'm happier to get different to spend up there and get to Ingram.
All right, this is Greg's favorite part of the show where I ask a question for myself, disguised. Okay. And he hates when I talk about Yahoo, but whatever. I'm playing on Yahoo.
I feel like the only times I've ever tuned into you guys for shows on when I haven't done it's always just like EMac, we have super chats. Okay, there's 12. We have super chats. EMac. It's like, oh, sorry, I got to go back to the home. Yeah.
All right, Jeremy Grant or Jonas Valanciunas?
Jonas Valanciunas, which sounds horrific now that I just said it out loud. And there's always a case that as soon as you get overweight to Jonas Valanciunas, that you get that alert on your phone that says Larry Nance Jr. will start the second half for the New Orleans Pelicans. And it's just like, what the fudge did I do? But I think 6,500 for him. He's different enough here. I think offensively with no CJ McCollum, I don't know. It feels like a spot where we haven't had that blow up J-Val 28 minutes, 50 bomb in a while. Well, actually, no, he did against Houston, put up 46 in 28 minutes. So we did have that pretty recently. Is that enough for you? I think so today at the center position as I'm working through some of it. But I guess it's more of me being actually on the other side of that one with Jeremy Grant. I just don't like the Jeremy Grant play today.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. Alrighty. Let me upload these and I'm making concerted efforts to make sure I get to all of
You're crushing it, my guy. Yeah, I'm
So
saying I wasn't me who said it. I'm saying Mr. Gregory. That's something that I have noticed a time or two.
yes, there has been our boss has given us some notes after the games.
You're lovely. No matter what they say, words can't bring you down.
No,
I have a
no.
lot of Io DeSunmu too. I did not see this coming. Wanted to throw that out there with 11 minutes left.
Yeah, he's leading off my Yahoo lineups.
That's chill. Jeremy
Alrighty.
Sohan's starting to show back up again for me. I have no idea what's going on today. Don't mind me.
So tech. So wait, did we do Yahoo? I'm good for Yahoo. I love playing on Yahoo. So
I'm going to preload some Harden too. I mean, just go to the Sims tool, give them a boost, get to some Harden, get to some Kawhi, because again, that could be really fun if you get Paul George ruled out, but nothing that I want to go nuts on. But yeah, Sacramento, you can't not like getting to those two without Paul George against Sacramento if that ends up being the case.
Would you go with Desumu or Suggs on FanDuel?
Io by a lot. Io by a lot.
Let's see there. All right, that's all I'm going to do on the old Yahoo. Let's get DraftKings going here. Let's see what else we got.
You go in lineup by lineup right now, site by site. Just.
Oh, I do one on Yahoo, and then
gotcha.
I could do the Sims, and I've been playing at it in FanDuel now that we have the Sims, and I've gotten used to navigating them. Not while I'm on a show though. That's not fair.
It's a good man. It's a good man.
So there's too many. There were too many games starting today. If there were just one, I would be fine with it, but not with four. And see, look, now I'm distracted, and I just clicked on the MLB simulations. So, yeah, let's not do that. Let's see. Who do you like under 4,200 on DK?
Well, very obviously Goga, very obviously Hendricks was somebody that showed up too. Let me see if there's anybody else that was showing up for me 3K. I thought Jordan Hawkins dance in my khaki pants was going to happen, but there's nothing better than not rostering him if I don't have to. So that is going to be the case there. I would say other than my internet, I feel like I'm in my element on this show. Feeling the Team Eric groove today. I am getting to Chris Dunn in 4% of my lineups. I am getting to... That's it. It's the only other guy sub 4,200. I have Cam Whitmore at 4,200 in one lineup as well. There's just a chance where 4,200 Cam Whitmore in blowout run goes out and puts up infinity fantasy points in 24 minutes. So I think he's interesting. If I were building more than 33 lineups here on the show today for the $15, I might be inclined to try to get there in a more pronounced way. But I do think that the chalk is pretty darn good today up at the top. Kind of taking some nuanced stands on certain players in the mid-range, trying to get a little bit different, and obviously playing a lot of San Antonio, Utah with the hopes that we get news for the Clippers and we can kind of swap into some of that. I do that pretty much every slate. Don't always talk about it all the time, but like that's always like the first thing in my process is like, where are the late swap opportunities? And then it's just letting the Sims tool do a lot of the heavy lifting for me at this point because it's smarter than I am. So I am very much inclined to just get myself to a little bit of that game above what the field is, and then hope we get that news. So,
and sorry, I was trying to.
You're good. I was giving you lots of time.
You did a great job there.
Thank you.
Did you call out who you're giving ROI boosts to or doing anything?
Yeah, Lauri Markkanen was one.
Okay.
I did build in a couple of lineups already with Kawhi and James Harden, trying to have that going. Have some Trey Mann. Again, Trey Mann is the guy that I think he's still 4K. Nobody really wants to click on it. But if you've watched recent Clippers games, I mean, obviously I watched that a lot out here. 28, 31 minutes. Minutes have been up there, and I know Powell's been out. So that's, the main differentiator between, what we've seen here of late. Let's see. He played on the 22nd. He did not play their most recent game. He's questionable for tonight too. If you walk into Trey Mann playing 32 minutes without Paul George on the floor, 4K for him seems awfully nifty. So yeah, I'll add him to the fray as somebody that, like, again, I want nothing to do with him unless that news breaks against George and Powell, but like it's Sacramento, so anything kind of goes. Again, that's why Lauri Markkanen, Keontae George, Chris Dunn, I have a couple of shares of. I talked about that too. Just have a lot of that San Antonio side too. It's just a great game environment to have exposure to over the field. And again, gives you an extra hour here after the 6 minutes from when we shut down here. I'll jump in premium Discord and talk through if there's anything showing up there. But yeah, and that's all I got for you.
So one guy that you and I both like a lot is Domantas Sabonis, and we have not mentioned him really tonight.
Yeah. It's a weird one because, Zubac's playing more minutes now, and I like Malik Monk the most out of any player on the Sacramento side. Getting that small forward eligibility seems to show him up. He's the only one I have double-digit exposure to. Somebody asked over in our stream over on Playback, hopefully you saw my response to it, but not really getting to De'Aaron Fox, even though he does project out really nicely here. And now starting to look more like De'Aaron Fox at times, which is such a weird piece of analysis. But again, watch a lot of the West Coast stuff, and he's played 40, 43, 37 minutes here the last couple. Nice to see that minute ceiling really being raised because, well, they need to keep winning basketball games. They need to keep the pedal to the metal there. But 8,200 for him. I think there's some other places to go with it. Obviously, I could turn Lauri Markkanen into him really quickly in the utility. In the event that LAC news doesn't come down the way I want to in the next hour, and then can swap around there. But Sacramento, by far, the guy I'm getting to most, Malik Monk right now.
All right.
How much Dom are you playing?
How much who?
Dom, Domantas Sabonis.
Not very much at all. He's not. Okay. He's not coming.
He's double-digit owned. I'm just not really there at the moment.
No, for me, it's gonna end up being Monk.
Okay. Yep. Same.
I'm just looking here. Okay, I'm going to do one last run. Boosting the
ROIs.
Unfavored.
Yeah, Terrence Mann. Did I say Trey? Terrence Mann, he meant. Yeah, so apologize if I said Trey instead of Terrence. Terrence Mann for the Clippers. That is the guy that I was alluding to and wanted to talk about. Eric, do you like Ayton over Grant? Yes, I do like DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton's been playing massive minutes here. They basically are just having Duop Reith come in for 12, 13, 14 minutes a game here. You are seeing the lion's share of minutes going Ayton's way. I think they're just trying to play around with the nucleus of this team. Can Simons, Ayton, Grant be long-term formidable? No, is probably the correct answer, but you want to try to just keep him happy, I suppose. Sub 7K here for DeAndre Ayton. We saw him go completely ham against Gobert in the first end of that Minnesota back-to-back. He goes completely unham the second end of it. But again, 35 minutes here, 20.8% usage, 27% usage, 24% usage. He is getting shot attempts, and we know Charlotte's interior. They want to go small with Grant Williams at times. DeAndre Ayton is not going to leave the floor. So really like that idea of getting to a little bit of him.
All right, I'm hitting upload now. I just wanted to check, when is the Chicago game? Shit, it is at 7. All right, well, whatever.
Yeah. Well, you were going to exit out?
No, I didn't want to play Vooch in this particular lineup. For my $5 single entry, but it's too hard to navigate out. And I'm playing DeJounte Murray. Boy, I'm going, you know what? I'm taking that one, copying it, putting it up there, saving, and uploading it. There we go. All right, let's hit on anything else that we have not covered. Checking playback, looking good. We appreciate that. And reminder, we are doing playback. That is going to be a Monday through Friday thing. So check that out. Key things that are really cool over there. There is no delay. There's maybe a 2-second delay between what we're saying and what is coming out on the screen. The games are easily synced up. And if you have NBA, what is it called? I guess NBA
League
TV.
Pass.
League Pass, thank you. You can sign in through Playback, and any of the games that we put up there that are on League Pass, you'll be able to see. You also should be able to do that with your cable provider. The only ones we have a little trouble with are the national games. Not everybody can see those for a variety of reasons. But that is something we're working on. You can be, if you become a VIP, we've been running various contests, you're going to get access like we have and be able to see all of it as we toggle between the different games. You're going to get live wagering, etc. It's a lot of fun. There was 400 people watched for almost 2 hours after lock on Friday. I just had it on in the background because normally I've got a League Pass on in the background and I'm looking at bets or doing other things. I thought, well, why not listen to the guys talk through things, and you can mute them. You can turn the games up. You can mute the games. You can listen to our guys. It was just a lot of fun. I think it was a pretty cool experience there. So that is Plague Pat. Andrew Martinez says, if George is ruled out, do you guys have a preference between Harden and Leonard? That's a good question. We can kind of
great question. My preference will definitely be Kawhi Leonard, and has more to do with positionality than it does anything else. Lauri Markkanen, again, just sitting in that range, 8,200, just giving him a boost, getting to some of that, allows me to swap into Kawhi a little bit easier and kind of shuffle around the pieces there. James Harden's at a point guard position where there's just more options that I'm locking up. DeJounte Murray, point guard, shooting guard, Keontae George, point guard, even Simons, Vassell. Like there's guys that I think at the point guard position that are just far more intriguing than small forward, where I think it's pretty open. So Kawhi would definitely be priority number one for me. James Harden too.
Alrighty. I thought it was because he's a fun guy.
I'm a fun guy. I like to play basketball.
Oh, sort of like days of yore, right?
And now these are beautiful times.
Alrighty, so we've got one question. I know the game is locking, and I didn't see this one, but last thought here. Get people saying, should I go with Mo Wagner over or just play Batadze? My answer would be play Batadze because he's starting.
Batadze every time. Again, this could be something where Mo ends up walking into some more minutes if Wagner plays well or something off the bench here. I do think Wagner ends up getting more minutes than you'd think there. There's probably a chance where he can walk into 20 and close or something, but Goga Batadze is a 1.04 DraftKings points per minute player. The blocks and steals, again, he averages 2 of them. And he's averaging, 18 minutes per game on the season. Defensively, he is a monster at times. So for FanDuel purposes, there's utility there. For DraftKings purposes, even in just 22 minutes, we have him under 22 minutes in our projections today, showing up for 100% of lineups. Godspeed to us all.
All right. With that, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you to BetMGM. Reminder, you go through the link here in the YouTube description. Click on it. Make a $10 deposit. If you come through our link, as soon as you make a $5 wager, win or lose, you're going to get $150 in bet credits. Pretty good deal here. We, of course, are starting this all over tomorrow with Josh Engelman and the process kicking things off. You guys can follow Eric over there on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. You can see me at EMac DFS. And, of course, it is stochastic_COM. With that, gamers, good luck. Shout out to producer Jacob.